Madam Speaker, I rise in support of the motion of thanks to the President. We've had a fruitful debate over the last few days, and members have touched on many issues, on population, on immigration, on the elderly, as Mr. Chen just mentioned just now. I would like to talk on another spectrum, another part of the population spectrum, on youth. And as a Minister for Youth, I fully agree with what the President said, that it is our young people in particular who must carry the torch faster and further for a brighter Singapore. During the debate, several members expressed concerns about the future that young people will have in Singapore. I have met and engaged with many young Singaporeans in the course of my work at MCCY and the National Youth Council, or NYC. Some of them are indeed anxious about the future. Nowadays, before you even reach midlife crisis at 50, there is quarter-life crisis at 25. So I meet young working adults agonizing over whether they have made the right life choices. Perhaps some angst is not uncommon at this stage of life, more so when there are so many choices available. In a way, it's also an opportunity for reflection and self-discovery, leading to stronger resilience and life skills. But what inspires me more is that I see a strong sense of idealism and enthusiasm amongst our youths to imagine the kind of Singapore they want for the future and to go about making things better for themselves and their fellow citizens. And members need not take my word for it alone. Let me share a story. Many of you would know that we are starting the pilot run of the Youth Corps this year, in June. We spoke to one of the applicants, Nur Huzaimah Binte Marum. She is 28 this year, so perhaps she has made it through her quarter-life crisis. She works at a copywriting firm, and I quote what she told us. Are young people happy? Well, they are happier than the older generation of today, but they are at a stage when they are still figuring out what they want to do in life and feel the pressure to do so early. They are confused, but they hope for a brighter future. So I would say it is happiness mixed up with anxiety. When I was young, I wanted to be many things: a flight stewardess, a doctor, a teacher, and a cook. My family wanted me to do engineering, but I wanted to do what I loved best, which is to write. Today my work gives me joy, but beyond my job, I want to contribute to social causes. I am lucky, by some accident of fate, to be born in Singapore, healthy, young, and strong. But there are many who are struggling. I feel it is my duty to do something in the world. So Huzaimah has tutored less privileged children in Singapore. She's helped build a community center in Nicaragua. She has worked with locals to run a social enterprise on the developing outskirts of Manila. And she is just one of more than 250 applicants we've received for the Youth Corps, for the first round of the Youth Corps. They come from a diverse range of backgrounds, from ITE, from the polytechnics, from university students, to young working adults like her. And this is just the first intake of the Youth Corps, and we are continuing to recruit. So to all the youths out there who want to make a difference, who want to make Singapore and the world a better place, please sign up. Beyond the Youth Corps, I believe there are many young people who feel the same way as Huzaimah, still deciding what they want out of life, yet hopeful of a brighter future ahead of them. Compared to previous generations, today's youths have more options before them. Rather than moving straight to the best paying or most stable jobs, a good number are taking some time to figure out their way in life and to discover what gives them meaning and joy. They do feel some pressure and anxiety, but given the opportunity, they are able to channel this energy into purposeful and impactful causes. My ministry will redouble our efforts to engage our youths at this important stage of their lives. We will do more to support the aspiration of all youths. We will equip them with vital life skills and help them discover their calling and passion. We will enable them to create their own ground-up initiatives, go for their dreams in diverse areas, and lead fulfilling lives. To realize these goals, we will increase our investments in our youths. One specific area we are looking at is to enhance and widen the spaces for youth participation and involvement. Today we have Scape in Orchard Road. It was an idea that came from our youths 10 years ago. And since the space became operational in 2010, Scape has established itself as a popular youth hangout. But the youth landscape has evolved over the years, and we need to keep up with the times. So we will be embarking on a review of Scape to look at the use of space, the tenant mix, and to see how we can have new programs that would be more appealing and more relevant to youths, for example, in areas like music and media. So this is our plan for Scape version 2.0. Beyond having Scape in the city center, we are also planning more youth spaces and programs in other parts of the island so that we can reach out to more youths nationwide. Not all of these programs need to be run centrally by NYC or Scape. In fact, many will have to be done through partnerships, and this will require us to forge closer ties with key youth stakeholders, including MOE and its schools, as well as the many voluntary groups in the community. One important partner is Outward Bound Singapore, OBS. Currently, OBS provides customized outdoor experiential learning programs for many school students. And I've received consistently good feedback about the OBS trainers and their programs. Many young people who have gone through OBS would share that it is a transformational, life-changing experience. And perhaps members yourselves have experienced it. So we plan to scale up the OBS programs and enable more young people to benefit from them. To do all this, we need to restructure and to strengthen the National Youth Council. We want the National Youth Council to be a national body overseeing youth affairs. NYC already has an active presence on the ground. For example, it supports many youth initiatives in community and social causes, and it enables many youths to embark on overseas community service projects overseas. There is scope to do even more and to raise awareness of what NYC has to offer for youths. As a national youth body, NYC has to reach out to all youths and youth organizations. It must champion youth engagement and coordinate youth programs nationwide with stakeholders. It must gather feedback from the ground and undertake research to better understand the needs of our youths. It must provide a voice for youths to influence and shape national policies. So these are capabilities which we will build up as part of a restructured NYC, and I will share more details on this in the coming weeks. In all that we do, we will continue to provide fair access to opportunities for our youths regardless of their backgrounds. This is something many members have emphasized in the points they raised during the debate about social mobility. I understand the concerns. It's something that weighs heavily on our minds too. In Singapore, no one should be deprived of the chance to broaden his horizon or develop a talent because of his family circumstances or social background. And so MCCY and MOE have been working together to offer more youth programs, be it in arts, sports, or other areas, both within and outside schools. In sports, for example, we have put in place programs to reach out to youths from lower income or disadvantaged homes. Some of them have not had much exposure in sports, but they show tremendous promise. And importantly, there will be pathways for them to develop further, for example, through the Singapore Sports School. Likewise, in arts and culture, we've made museum entry free for Singaporeans, and we are continuing to bring arts programs closer to the community, especially to our youths. We want them to experience the arts at an early age, enrich their lives, and also have access to multiple pathways to develop their talents further. So I want to assure all members that our offerings will continue to be inclusive and accessible so that all Singaporeans can participate and benefit. As Singapore continues to evolve, we must equip our youths with the knowledge and attributes that they will need to grow into active and discerning citizens. As the saying goes, we can't always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. Some members have mentioned the need for political education. And no doubt it is important to be informed about the political system and the principles of governance in Singapore. But our priority in education must be on character development, as several members have emphasized, including Mr. Lim Biao Chuan just now. Good character is about staying true to the values that we hold dear. Good character means honesty and integrity in our words and actions. Good character means that while we may disagree on certain issues, we can still come together and hash things out. More importantly, good character gives rise to good deeds. One of our founding fathers, the late Mr. Rajaratnam, put this very well. when he spoke of Singapore becoming a democracy of deeds and not words. He called for citizenship participation at all levels so that we can rise above adversarial politics and solve practical problems in a practical way. And that's to quote from him, to solve practical problems in a practical way. Mr. Rajaratnam said this in the early 70s, and in many ways he was prescient in highlighting the problems we see today in mature democracies around the world. In countries previously upheld in some quarters as the bastions and role models of democracy, we see citizens becoming increasingly cynical and disenfranchised, as described by Mr. Hiri Kumar eloquently in this House earlier in the debate. It is especially worrying that many young people in such countries have succumbed to disillusionment and have grown more disengaged from public life and their communities. We must never allow this to happen in Singapore. So in engaging our young people, we must get to the heart of what makes for a healthy democracy, and that is the collective engagement of an active citizenry for the public good. We must encourage our youth to get involved in causes and projects that build a better society. We must aspire for Singapore to be a problem-solving democracy, a democracy of deeds. And that's why we are focusing on values in action, not just values, but values in action in our schools. And that's why we are focusing on community leadership and community involvement in the youth corps. We are already seeing many active young Singaporeans who inspire all of us to do better and to do more. Take David Ho and his team from NUS, for example. They took part in the Gobi March last year to raise $100,000 in funds for the Straits Times School Pocket Money Fund. There are also many youth-led social enterprises like Kong Jan Consulting, which is a group that offers pro bono consulting services. These are young professionals, so they have skills and they donate or they offer their skills in a pro bono manner for organizations in the social sector. These are just some examples of young people who are making a difference early in their lives, and there are many more out there. So overall, I would say that we are not doing too badly on this front, but we can and we will continue to do better. Madam Speaker, our challenges ahead may be new, but the values upon which our success depends, honesty and hard work, resilience and responsibility, the determination to strive and act for the common good, these things are not new. These qualities will stand us, not just our youth, but all Singaporeans in good state as we prepare to celebrate our nation's 50th anniversary of independence next year. The first thing we did as part of our SG50 celebration was to honor our pioneers, and I think that's the right way to start. As members would recollect, we had a tribute event at the Istana in February, and we will continue to have many different activities and events throughout the year to honor our pioneers in the different segments of society. Earlier this year, we also asked Singaporeans how they would like to celebrate this important milestone. And within 2 months, we had received more than 11,000 suggestions. They come from Singaporeans of all ages and of all walks of life. I met Dr. Tia Tia. He wanted to give a hug to 50 persons and have each of them multiply that with another 50 more. So if that project works, I think all of us will have had a hug with one another in Singapore. One working adult suggested having a giant potluck with her neighbors for the nation's 50th birthday. Another said he would like to walk through places and hear the stories of the past with different generations of people. And many others would like to have local bands and drama groups to stage performances. We have gone through each and every suggestion, and we will try our very best to build them into our events and programs in the coming year. And Minister Heng Swee Keat and I will share more details on the SG50 calendar next week. What we have in the calendar will include many ground-up initiatives because we want Singaporeans to take ownership of the celebration and to play an active role in the celebration. And that is why we set up the SG50 Celebration Fund, which will provide each project that is put up for approval up to $50,000 in funding. To date, we have received over 100 proposals ranging from performances to publications to charity projects and volunteering projects. For example, Samuel He wants to work on a community quilt project by stitching together photographs of families taken at iconic locations. Jo Kim Sim and Lim Mui Chen want to publish success stories of how social enterprises in Singapore are helping the underprivileged. The ideas that have been coming in for SG50 suggest that Singaporeans are looking beyond celebratory events. They are hoping to see a reaffirmation of deeper values and beliefs that bind us as a nation. Singaporeans want to celebrate our culture and heritage, to honor our pioneer generation and do something meaningful for the disadvantaged. A good number of them, young and old alike, are willing to invest their own time and energy into this. So, Madam, I'm very heartened to see this active and very lively response from Singaporeans. And we've just started, so I'm sure there will be many more to come. I'm particularly encouraged because we live in a time where politics in many countries has become increasingly acrimonious and divisive, where negative and inflammatory soundbites are being amplified louder and faster than before. And in such an environment, it's very easy to tune out, to become cynical, to focus only on the bad and dismiss all the good that is happening around us. But the active participation of the many Singaporeans, including young Singaporeans, in the Singapore conversation and now the SG50 celebration gives me hope. It should give all of us hope. It shows that Singaporeans care deeply about one another and about our nation. And it shows that we are making progress towards becoming a democracy of deeds. I earlier quoted Huzaima on her personal aspirations. Let me close by sharing what she said when we asked her what she hopes to see in Singapore 50 years from now. So let me quote from her. I hope to see a smaller income gap between the rich and the poor. I hope everyone is happier, healthier, and has enough for their retirement. And I hope our people are kinder to one another, even without direct benefit to themselves. Everyone has a part to play. We may not have all the answers, but in terms of shaping this country, everyone must contribute. I would say to my peers, what do you hope for Singapore 50 years down the road? And what will you do about it? You have the energy to make things happen. You should get out there and be proactive. The future belongs to you. I think Huzaima said it very well. There are many challenges ahead for Singapore, the fault lines of inequality, the stresses of globalization. These are challenges faced not only by Singapore, but across the globe. They are the most important questions of this generation the world over. But Singapore has always been, and I believe will continue to be, an exceptional nation with exceptional people. We will rise and adapt to meet the challenges of our day. And we can only do so in an environment where all Singaporeans work together, build on one another's good ideas, give generously of ourselves, and remain united in purpose and conviction. So I encourage our youths, I encourage all Singaporeans to step forward, leave your comfort zone, engage with others from different walks of life in service, leadership, and empathy. Act on your ideas and your ideals. And as we approach the end of this debate on the President's address, let us remind ourselves of what is at stake. We've had many specific suggestions and ideas, but we should also take a step back and look at the bigger picture, which is about our future, the future of Singapore, the future for our children and our youths. So let us renew our pledge to build a better and brighter Singapore together. Thank you, Madam Speaker.